Welcome back to Dragon Stadium. Justin Rose in for Jeff Sloan and Michael Spath, joined with a couple of student broadcasters. Taryn Fritzsching, she's down on the end, and then Nick Whitten, student at Clarkston, and it is the Wolves that are down to the Dragons 13-10 at the break. Good rivalry game, 2 4-2 football teams, and these two teams no love lost, as we saw a couple of big hits, maybe a little extracurriculars after the whistle a little bit, but that's to be expected in a rivalry game, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, penalties are expected more in a rivalry game because the teams have more anger towards each other.
You know what? Are you a little angry that your team's not winning right now?
I'm surprised.
Tell me about that. I think I'm a little bit surprised too. Not because either team is glaringly better. Again, 2 4-2 football teams, but it just seems like we had fireworks. Kind of 3 of the first 4 possessions resulted in points, and then things kind of settled down. Taryn, I know you were up and down the sidelines kind of taking notes on this game. What did you kind of see from these two teams?
I would say that Lake Orion sideline was a lot more hyped up, and especially because there's just such a big crowd. It's the homecoming game, and this is just such a big rivalry for not only Lake Orion, but obviously Clarkston. And for the entire second quarter, I pretty much stayed on that Clarkston sideline, and they're a lot more quiet. They have a lot less space for their fans to be, and Clarkston was getting a little upset at some calls about some penalties, and so I just think that it's just really been playing a huge part in it, especially because Clarkston's only had that 1 touchdown, whereas Lake Orion's had 2, and they've come out pretty strong.
Well, they kicked a field goal, Clarkston, that is, at the end of the half as time expired. A good boot by their kicker. Both kickers. I mean, Lake Orion attempted what seemed to be a 48-yard field goal if you're doing the math at home. And in a high school football game, I don't care where you're at in the country, 48-yard field goal, pretty low odds in the history that I've seen with it. But hey, he only missed it by a couple. So both kickers. Tell me, do you know Clarkston kicker? Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, Aiden O'Neill, Clarkston kicker, sophomore, number 17. Sorry.
Okay.
I know he trains hard in the weight room and he practices kicks a lot.
Does he play soccer? Is he one of those kids that does the double duty, or is he?
I don't think so,
okay.
But I don't know. He's odd guy.
I mean, he's, kickers and goalies. That's the two where you got to kind of be a little bit, more interesting. I guess that's the best way to put it. Taryn, as we take a look at what's going to happen here in the second half, I mean, obviously, just a 3-point game, 1 possession. I believe Lake Orion gets the football to start the second half. So if they can script something together here, this could be a 2-score game once again.
This game is, in my opinion, Clarkston's biggest this entire year, because I don't know if this was mentioned in the pregame. However, Clarkston has to win this game for them to be tied for Oxford for first in the OAA Red, because Oxford had beat West Bloomfield last night. But if Lake Orion wins, the OAA Red goes to Oxford.
No matter what?
No matter what.
Really?
They will win. They will win the OAA Red. And the playoffs are obviously set in a point system, so all 5 teams in the OAA Red, so Oxford, Clarkston, Lake Orion, Rochester, Adams, and West Bloomfield, they will most likely all be in because that is just the high level of the OAA Red. However, this game, if Clarkston does not get this win, it goes to Oxford. And that's why I think that this, not only rivalry, not only homecoming, but to have Clarkston lock up that OAA Red, they will be set, and I think that they will just ride on that high for the rest of the season.
Well, and for Lake Orion, they would feel pretty good about themselves as well, stopping their rival from getting a conference championship, winning on homecoming night, which, as we all know, everyone has a homecoming somewhere, whether it's in high school or in college. You want your team to win that particular home game for multitude of reasons. But Lake Orion, they're pretty fired up. They got a great crowd out here tonight. I mean, what do you think about this atmosphere? I know you're from the rival team, but, I mean, this is pretty impressive, is it not?
A lot of people are in the stands. I don't see an empty seat at all. And I saw there was a flag. They were hoisting some sort of banner across the student section.
You only see that in big arenas and big stadiums around the country, and they pulled it off here at Lake Orion, so that was very interesting to see. You got a little extended coverage with us, 13-7, Lake Orion on top of Clarkston at the half. Justin Rose alongside Nick Whitten, Taryn Fritzsching, our student broadcasters. This is the first time you've covered a game on the sideline. Give me some of your thoughts about this. This is what we're trying to do here at SportsCaster.com. Give the kids an opportunity who maybe have never done something like this before. So what's your first reactions?
Well, it's definitely a lot different than I expected. The headphone audio is a bit odd, but I don't know. It feels weird, like having a voice like relayed. I don't know, but
it's okay. This is the first time you've done this, Taryn. You're a little bit more seasoned with it now, but how have you grown over the first 7 weeks of this season?
Honestly, I say this every week. I really just say that I just utilize my resources a lot because my dad, who's helping broadcast for Lake Orion TV right now, we ended up coming to practice on Wednesday, and my dad used to work at Lake Orion, and so he knew Coach Chris Bell. He knew one of the JV coaches because he works in the summer camps with him. He used to coach defensive backs coach for Lake Orion, Jeff Heath, who is a former NFL player. He played for the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Raiders 10 years, and his dad, who is also a Lake Orion coach. So they are side by side, but I really just say that I love utilizing my resources, and that's why I was able to talk to Chris Bell earlier this week, and it really just helped me because it helps get that inside perspective, whereas you don't know how these coaches are feeling until you ask them.
No, it's absolutely relationships so important in the broadcasting and journalism realm. Nick, of course, you have relationships with some of these guys that are on the football team. So as Clarkston comes back out onto the field to start their preparations, a couple minutes left before we kick things back up to the booth with Chris Renwick and our student broadcasters, what was said at halftime? What was the coach's message, you think, to this team? What do you think, and what student athlete maybe stepped up and said, hey guys, not tonight, we're not losing this football game?
Well, I know Coach Pintar really likes to rally his team around cooperation and teamwork with team dinners every Thursday. So I think there was definitely some inspiration about how we can turn this around and work on our weaknesses, which I saw some passing weaknesses. But I think that do
you think that you said in the pregame you would hope that they, the pass offense for Lake Orion and the pass defense, do you think that the pass defense has done enough? Who's it on more for Clarkston to turn it around? Is it the offense or is it the defense?
I think it's the offense. Lake Orion is defending the pass very well, but I see a lot of rushing plays with Alice Washenko, quarterback. He gets in there pretty well. They don't have an easy time defending that.
Okay.
But I think that if the offense steps it up a little bit, then they can tie this game up and hopefully come back to win it.
All right, Taryn, you're going to be on the other side for Lake Orion. What do they need to do in the second half? They have the lead, 2 touchdowns, missed extra point, 13-10. They've been able to keep Clarkston kind of at bay. So who's it more on in the second half, the offense or the defense?
I'd honestly say the offense because I think that their defense has just been pretty calm the entire game, and that's why they've kept to 10. Obviously, it's a 3-point game, and so it's still close, but I think that the O-line needs to step up, especially on that left side, because the Clarkston defensive line is just getting to Tristan Hill just way too easily, and I just think that the left offensive side of Lake Orion's offense just really needs to step it up.
I absolutely agree with both of your points. It's going to be very interesting. So, got about a minute and a half left before we send it back up to Chris Renwick. Who you got in the second half, guys? Let's start with you. Who do you think is going to win this game? You think your team's going to come back and get it done?
I think they can do it. I mean, they only need another field goal, so if we can stop Lake Orion here on this drive and then come back to tie it up, I think that with some good rushing plays, some good passing plays, and some missteps by the defense, we should be able to win this one.
Okay, Taryn, what do you think?
I think that Lake Orion's going to come out strong on this homecoming night, spoil their rivalry's chance at tying for the OAA Red, and I think that Lake Orion will come out with the W tonight.
Okay, of course, they're split down the middle, which leaves it to me before we send it back up to Chris Renwick. I just feel like the home team's got the edge right now. It's going to be interesting to see if Clarkston can get something done. Maybe they do, but I think those Dragons and this home crowd are going to help them push them to the finish line. So, for Taryn Fritzsching, for Nick Whitten, I'm Justin Rose. We will talk to you and some of the winning players after the game is over, so keep it locked in right here. But in the meantime, we're going to send it back up to the booth, our student broadcasters, and Chris Renwick. The second half call coming at you next.